Diamond Factory, where we come together Tuesday through Friday to start off our day with positive minded and like minded people. So we're excited here in Chicago. We had a wonderful scam party night last night. Guys, this thing is rolling. You have a party, you can start in your home. If it grows too big to your home, you can go to the library, to the churches. I know they will let you rent out a room or maybe give it to you complimentary. But guys, you need to be doing these events all over the country with the coaches because it's on fire. People want what you have. And so without further ado, I'm going to get out of the way and bring up our own Dr. Roz. As I said, she is an emerald here in the company. She is, and that means her and her team do $50,000 in a calendar month. She is also VP of Communications. You need to thank her for all the communications you get from our company, Akana, because you don't miss anything with Dr. Roz. She does that job very well. Now, I'm going to go on and get out of the way so she can give you some nuggets this morning. And Dr. Roz, you can close it out. Thank you.
Good morning, Phyllis. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, dear.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Phyllis, we can never thank you enough for your tireless work, your determination, your focus on helping us be who we sometimes don't even know who we are. And we thank you. And I always say this, thank you just for saying yes to that call, because it's definitely a call. So this morning, listen, we've had so much happening. Man, we've had so much happening. We're still on a high from the conference. We're moving forward as a result of everything we learned there. And Coach Dan just dropped the mic on us yesterday, giving us so many wonderful principles. So this morning, I really want to talk about how we can keep moving forward. And there's an old saying, it's an old proverb, where there's a will, there's a way. We've all heard that proverb coming up in life. And somebody may have shared that with us and told us that. But see, sometimes we have difficulty moving forward from where we are because we're regretting something that we've done or hadn't done. You might be that person that's on this call and your regrets are that you didn't go to conference. Or maybe your regrets are that you haven't signed up that very first person on your team. Or maybe your regrets are you haven't sold enough products. And so a lot of time it's tempting to get caught up in our regrets, our what ifs. What if this could happen? Or what? I mean, you're waiting on all these things, like our CSO just said. We're waiting on certain things to happen before we do certain things. What are we waiting on? We're waiting on uh, 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 a workshop to come to my area before I make a move. I'm waiting for a Dr. Prince or a CEO or a CSO. When you are the CEO, but oftentimes we don't know who we are, and we don't know what our capabilities are and what's even in the palm of our hands to happen. Because where there is a will, there is a way. But sometimes we're shaken to our core, and sometimes that shaking is good. That sometimes that shaking is a reminder to connect us with our will. I'm going to say it again. Where there is a will, there is a way. So when you hear that statement, where there's a will, there's a way, it's one of the most used proverbs to date. This, where there is a will, there's a way, has a whole lot of meaning when we come to think of it. I mean, it's the essential meaning is that what it really means is if you set your mind to do something, you can do it. If you set your mind to do it, hear me when I say this, you can do it. In other words, it shows us the importance of willpower. I've shared with some people in my lifetime, my birth mother, who not birthed me, my real mother, because I found out I was adopted when I was 30 years old. But my mother, who raised me, had so much willpower. And she had gone through 3 heart attacks and 2 strokes near the latter part of her life. But during one of those times, she said she was going to walk in, she had had a stroke, and she said, but I'm going to walk in heels to your graduation when I was going to graduate from high school. And gosh, she did that. And it was because of her will. But also, when she got sick, just before she passed away, they had to amputate her leg, the lower part of her leg. And when she came to, because they had her under a lot of drugs, and when she came to, she said, I don't want that doctor to touch me no more. Because he didn't have to do that. Because my father had to make a decision because they said she had gangrene and it was fixing to go all over her body. And so he made the decision. But when she came to, where she recognized what they had done, she said, I don't want to touch me anymore. About 5 minutes later, doctor came in and touched her, and she passed. That was her will. That was the strength of her will. So where there is a will, there's a way. Willpower is the desire to achieve something. And if you have the willpower to do something, then nothing can stop you from doing it. Nothing. It's when you lose that willpower. And we lose that willpower when things don't go like we planned for it to go, when not enough people show up, when all these things. And I tell my team all the time, it's not about how many people show up. It's about you doing it. It's about the activity. Because one person can show up and that one person can take your team. I mean, ask some of the leaders what one person has done. One person has taken them because of who they touched. So where there's a will, there's a way. And it's quite important. It's quite important to help people push. That's what our CSO does. Helps us push. Helps us push past our limits and achieve our goals. It makes you more determined and focused to achieve your goals. Where there's a will, there's a way just proves the importance of hard work. Come on. I mean, don't be misconstrued. This takes hard work. This doesn't just come, because if it didn't, everybody would be doing it. People who are willing to take the risk, or no matter what the cost, you're going to successfully achieve your goals. And if you just dream and dream and dream and dream about something and do nothing, you'll get nothing. You're not going to achieve it. But most likely you're going to fail. You're going to become incompetent. But if you work continuously, did you hear the key word there? Continuously. To achieve your goals, you're going to find a way. Why? Because where there's a will, there is a way. Therefore, where there is a will, there's a way teaches us to be quite focused and hardworking. It shows us how people followed this and they have reached great heights in life. There are people that have done this right in our own lifetime. I was watching a video just the other day of Steve Harvey. And Steve Harvey said this in one of his videos. He said, he's become successful because he didn't have a plan B. He said, everybody that he knows who has a plan B has used it. Has used it, right? Because he says in order to fix the plan B, you can't give your all to your plan A. And we've all been taught, have a plan B. Well, Akana is my plan A. Now, you have a job, and I'm not talking about what your job or your occupation is, but I'm talking about outside of that, to build your legacy, to build wealth in your life, because your job is not going to do that. They ain't going to never pay you enough for that to happen. You got to have something that doesn't have a ceiling. And in history, it shows us that people who had willpower, who operated in where there is a will, there's a way, they succeeded. And I'll just give you 2 quick examples. Mahatma Gandhi. He's a great example of where there's a will, there's a way. He was bent on freeing India from the shackles of the British rule, and he did that. What made this possible? His willpower and his constant efforts. He was frail in body. He needed our flat belly lifestyle. He needed our cleanse. He needed all the things that we have, the CBD and all those things to give him the health that he needed. But even in the midst of his frailty, even in the midst of his lack of physical being, his willpower was not frail. And he chose the path of nonviolence and still managed to contribute to India's freedom. Another example that we all know about, Dr. Martin Luther King. I mean, Dr. King was really responsible for bringing civil rights to us in America, to Black people in America. His will, his determination to end racism. He taught us, even when he was in jail, he did not give up. He fought continuously to achieve a dream that he himself didn't even see. So, in essence, where there's a will, there's a way. It teaches us a great deal about hard work and fortitude. How hard are you working? You just heard our CEO. And see, we'll say, well, they're doing that in Chicago. What are you doing in your area? When I look at the screen and I see all of these cities, when we announce where we are, something ought to be taking place right there. In your house, in your community, in the library. Where there's a will, there's a way. You will find a place. And you say, well, I don't really have the money to do. There's some places for free. If you got to go set up at Starbucks. I did this when we were on the cruise ship. We were on the cruise ship, and I made a little bitty sign on the table that was not distracting, so I wouldn't get in trouble. But people passed by the table. If you had that sign sitting there at Starbucks, or you call somebody and you put something out there, sometimes you can even ask people, but you got to open up your mouth. Can I set up here? And they'll let you do it. Especially when you're not doing something that's competing against them, that you're helping them. When I've set up at fitness centers, I mean, we're set. And once you start doing it, here's what I've just found out recently. Once I go to one vending event and people come and get scanned at your vending event, guess what? They want you to come to their vending event or their church event or whatever it is, or their home, house parties. All of these things are there available. But where there's a will, the way opens up. Good morning, guys. Let's get busy. Let's go to work. We've got things available to us. We got a cruise. We got Dubai. We got all these things. But just day to day achieving, what are you going to do today? Where there's a will, there's a way. Have a great Akana kind of day. Bye for now.